for LexisNexis Litigation Services, and my primary role at the company is CaseMap specialist for the law schools. I spend all my time traveling around the country to the various law schools, teaching faculty and students about CaseMap and some of the other litigation tools that we now own. Before I get started, I just wanted to see a show of hands. How many people are IT? Well, let's start with professors. Anybody here who's teaching? Teachers? Anybody teaching legal writing? Yes? Yes? Anybody teaching a clinic? Yes. And then everyone else is in the technology. Okay, great. So, or something else. Does anybody know anything about CaseMap yet? Besides you, Don? And you, Sandy? Okay. Let me give you the background on CaseMap. CaseMap is not a new tool. It's fairly new to Lexis because we only acquired the company 3 years ago, but it is something that has been around in the litigation world for nearly a decade now. Hi there. And has been extensively used by all of the top AmLaw 100 firms. It's used in all of those firms. It's very popular with the Department of Justice. And hundreds of firms of all sizes around the country use CaseMap. It is what we call a case analysis tool. Basically what it does for an attorney, the service it provides, is a really fantastic and efficient way to organize all of the case materials for one case matter. Okay? So in the past, the way attorneys would do things, and some of them still do, would be to have, all of the different pieces of information in the case collected in different places. For example, the initial client interview, the notes from that would end up in the partner's yellow legal pad. And then an associate might be asked to write up a fact chronology in a Word document, and that would be on that person's computer. And then documents start to come in on the case, and the paralegal is asked to open up an Excel spreadsheet and start creating a document index, and those documents go into folders. And then associates are given the task of writing memos on the law. And so all of the legal authorities being gathered in the case and all the analysis of those authorities ends up in various memos on the computers of various associates. I know I practiced for 8 years in New York. I did IP litigation. This is the way we did things. We emailed stuff back and forth to one another. We went crazy looking for stuff we couldn't find and searching the computer for that memo you knew somebody wrote. It just was not an efficient way of doing things, and particularly when a litigation becomes complex and you're dealing with tons of facts and various different legal issues, thousands of pages of documents, it's really impossible to wrangle all of that and manage it, especially when you're working on a team of people, all of whom are responsible for different parts of the case. So this CaseMap tool was just like a godsend for litigators, and that's why they love it so much. Basically what it does is very simple to explain. You create a CaseMap file. You open up a CaseMap file for your Jones versus Jones case, and it is a master file. It becomes the repository for everything in the case. And all it is from a technology perspective is a collection of linkable spreadsheets, relational spreadsheets. Every piece of the case gets a spreadsheet of its own. So my issue outline, my master outline of all the legal issues in the case goes into the issue spreadsheet. And each one of those issues are then going to be linked to the things that support it. Okay? I have a spreadsheet for my facts. It's a fact chronology where I can put in every single important fact in the case, and not only the fact itself, but my analysis of that fact. Is it disputed in the case? Who disputes it? What's its source? Is it material? What issue does it relate to in the case? Then I have a document spreadsheet. Master list of documents, links to those documents right there in that spreadsheet, all of the pertinent information about those documents. Who wrote it, who received it, what's the date, all that stuff that goes into a document index that somebody in the case is going to create in some format anyway. But here it's all in one place. You then have 2 spreadsheets for your research. So every case that is pulled and deemed to be relevant to the case, every statute, every snippet, every quote that you're going to be relying on in this case for your arguments goes into these spreadsheets. It never gets lost, doesn't live in multiple memos. It's all there laid out in 2 spreadsheets, which again, you're able to link each case or excerpt from a case to a particular issue. So that later on, if you wanted to quickly pull up all your authorities on the intentional infliction of emotional distress argument, you can just sort on that and instantly have all of those authorities in front of you. So it is a real no-brainer for an attorney to use this product on even a small case. I handled very complex patent litigation matters, and it was, I mean, for those types of matters, it's absolutely indispensable. But even for a small matter, it just really helps you to clarify everything, keep everything in one place, see the connections between things. It's a fantastic tool. I really, genuinely, from a practitioner's perspective, love it. So anyway, Lexis was smart enough to realize that this is not only a tool that we should be selling to the law firms, it's already been in the law firms for a long time, this is something that students need to get exposed to. This is they're graduating into a very technology-driven practice. I graduated in 1997, things were just starting to get, I was still doing a lot of things on paper, and we were just starting to get into technology. But now, you join a big firm, you're using electronic, reading the documents electronically, you're using document management software, you're using case analysis software like CaseMap, deposition transcript management software. Everything is being done that way, and it's increasingly important for students to come out with an understanding of these tools. And it not only provides them with an understanding of the actual technology, it's really bigger than that pedagogically. Actually using CaseMap to work on, even small matters like a legal research and writing assignment, it really brings into focus, I think, for the student, the legal analysis process. Okay, you'll understand what I mean when you see this tool, because it teaches students how you really have to think about a case in order to pull it all together to write a brief on the case or to bring the case to trial. It shows them how each part of the case connects to everything else and really gives them some really good habits in terms of organizing their materials. So we decided to make it available free. It is free to all law students and faculty right here on the Lexis homepage under Download Tools. Student clicks here or faculty member clicks here. Faculty member is going to get a non-expiring license. What? Oh my gosh, all this time? I thought you were looking at the CaseMap. Sorry about that. Well, good, you were paying attention to me. Let me just get it up on the screen. One more control, I think. Did I lose it? I don't know we had it. We just had it. I know we had it. I think it just disappeared on me. Or maybe. Oh, yeah.
So we have a projector on? Is the fan just
It's on before? Yeah, we had it. Okay, well, while you work on that. So it's free to everyone. It's actually been free for a few years now, a couple of years. We have it up there. Unfortunately, a lot of students don't notice that they have access to this whole suite of practice tools for free for 3 years because it's just not conspicuous enough, in my opinion. But we want you to let your students know that they have access to this free software for 3 years. So they get 3 years of the whole suite, CaseMap, TimeMap, TextMap, and NoteMap, which I'll tell you a little more about those, for 3 years from the date of download. So even a graduating student is going to get the 3 years. They walk out with a very nice treat of having free practice tools on their computer for the next 3 years. And they're free to use this in their summer jobs. They can take it. I've had students who took it into their summer clerkships and used it to generate work product and impress the partners that they were working for. They're free to use it for any purpose. The reason why...
How do they prove they're a student? Oh, they already have.
You have to have your ID to get the download. And the reason why we realized that this was such a great tool for students, it has so many different applications in the law school curriculum. Okay, aside from just generally it's being nice to expose students to a tool they're going to use in practice, it has applications for them from the first year to the third year. Okay, so starting with the 1L legal research and writing curriculum. We have a number of legal research and writing professors around the country now using it to help them teach the course, to help them teach students about legal analysis. They will actually have students hand in this CaseMap file that they created, wherein the student showed in their fact spreadsheet hi.
Hello.
Their list of the critical facts that they identified in the case. We totally had it. It was all there
Okay.
for like an hour. They'll have the student hand in the issue outline from CaseMap. The student will hand in their research log. Every legal research and writing professor, most of them, will have students hand in something called a research log, where they show the cases that they found, their analysis of those cases. It's just a great sort of medium to do that. They'll just hand in the CaseMap, and it'll show all of the cases that they pulled. Not only the cases that they deemed relevant, but the particular squibs, the particular excerpts from those cases and statutes that they isolated as important. And then in the next column, why they thought that particular quote from the case was important. So it allows the professor to see the student's trail of analysis. And we have a professor on our advisory board, David Thompson from Denver University. He has been using it for many years this way. It's mandatory in his program. Students get trained on it day one. And then from the first semester, they use CaseMap. And I often quote him because he says, what's so great about CaseMap is it allows him to diagnose the patient instead of dissecting the body. And legal research and writing associates professors understand what this means, because what they otherwise have to do is take a brief or a memo that the student handed in and read it and figure out where they went wrong analytically that led them to write this crappy paper. And then go back and say, okay, well, you can put together sentences, but you had the wrong issue altogether. Or you didn't find the right cases, or you found the right cases, but you used the wrong language from those cases. You didn't understand what those cases stood for. You know? So it's sort of like a diagnostic tool for a legal research and writing professor. And also the students love it because it just gives them a cool, easy way to break down the information in their case. Also, clinics are, a pretty obvious candidate for CaseMap. Clinics are using CaseMap, obviously, in the same way that the law firms are, to manage real cases, and it's really a tremendous benefit to them. The benefits are in addition to giving them a way to track all of their cases and keep all of the information in one place for each case, they can also, it has the additional benefit of when new students come into the clinic and join a case that's been going on for a year or 2 years or 10 years, they can instantly get up to speed on the whole entire case just by opening the CaseMap.
So are you hosting the data?
No, all the data is on your computer. Okay,
So
so
how
it's
do
not
they
a web-based application at all.
So then tell me, when you say they can come in and come up to speed immediately, where are they getting that content if it's all distributed across all these different computers?
Well, you can certainly print out a copy of the CaseMap
So
report and hand it to somebody.
it's not stored on a server centrally someplace?
Well,
Or could I?
here's the way CaseMap is used in the firms. Okay, let me open up just for an example, so you have some context. I'm going to open up a CaseMap
sidetracking,
file.
I just was curious.
No problem at all. Okay, at a firm or in a clinic, when the computers are connected to the same server, you can create a CaseMap file, and every attorney or student working on the case can simultaneously log in. What you do is you create a staff, and that staff has access to that file. So I come in the morning, I open up my Jones case, I get in there, my fellow associate in the next office can be logging in as well and working on a different piece of the case at the same time. So it's a multi-user application. That's if you're all connected to the same server. But for 1Ls, they're using their laptops, they're creating a CaseMap for one person, and they're just doing their work in that one CaseMap, and then they'll hand in a printout of the CaseMap file, or they'll email it to the professor. Okay, so is that clear?
Yep.
But just so you know, this is one of the major benefits of CaseMap is that it allows the attorneys to collaborate. They're all in one place at the same time. They're all in one file, which is what you're looking at right now. Okay, I just opened up a CaseMap file, a blank, and I'm going to take you through filling out a CaseMap file sort of as a 1L would do with a typical 1L problem. All right? Okay, so we're going to use my traditional copyright example since I practiced copyright law. And this is going to be a copyright infringement case involving Alicia Keys and Justin Timberlake. Okay? So Alicia Keys, this is the first thing you would do. I tell students all the time, first you just get your players in. There's a spreadsheet here to keep track of the people in the case. Another point I should have raised. Instead of that being on your secretary's computer and having to call your secretary and say, give me the number of the plaintiff or so-and-so, all of the people information in the case also has a place in CaseMap. All the organizations, witnesses, everybody. So let's put in our plaintiff. What type is she? She is a plaintiff. Role in the case, the student can put, she alleges that Timberlake infringed the copyright in her song. Sure looks good to me. With his song, okay? And he's obviously arguing that it's not infringement because it was a parody and therefore fair use defense to copyright infringement. Okay, so that's our case. That's our little 1L problem. Description field would allow you to put descriptive information about that person. She's an award-winning recording artist and background information on her. Is she a key player in the case? You can check the box and indicate who's key and who's not. And you can link her to an issue in the case, which we'll talk about in a moment. You can also link a file to her. So for example, a photo or a witness statement or something. Address, email, phone number, who's her counsel. And these spreadsheets are all completely customizable. You can change the names of these fields. You can add new fields. You can hide whatever fields you don't want the students to see. Obviously, clinics customize these all the time for their particular needs for particular cases, and they love that because they can do whatever they want with the CaseMap file. Okay, so let's get back to legal research and writing. We're going to hit new record. It's really simple to add a new record to each spreadsheet. It's just use your down arrow or hit new record. And we're going to put in JT. Okay. Short name, it assigns to the person. That's the name that you're going to use throughout the CaseMap to refer to them, because it's going to create a link to that person every time you refer to them elsewhere in the CaseMap. You can customize the short name if you want to call him JT in the case. Then JT will be what links to Justin Timberlake. He's defendant. His role argues that the song was a parody. And of course, you can put as much text in here as these boxes expand. Description, key, so on and so forth. And let's put in one final player in this problem. We're going to put in, I bet you can guess. Okay, she's a fact witness because Justin Timberlake performed the song at her concert in Louisiana. Okay? So
what did you say the key was if you checkmark the key column?
Key just, I mean, in a big case where there's a lot of players, you might want to just separate out people who are key from people who are not as important, so then you can easily sort by the key players. And you have that with the facts too. You can isolate a document as key or a fact as key. Okay, so now we've got our whole cast of characters. There are other spreadsheets in CaseMap. They're all here to choose from. You can always use all of them or any of them, but I kept in my favorites the ones that students use most. Okay, so let's go to the next. You can reorder these as well. I always tell students that the next spreadsheet they should fill out, if they can, is the issue outline, because it's not until you really know what the issues are in the case can you meaningfully analyze the facts and do your research. You have to know what you're looking for, right? So as soon as that all crystallizes for the student, they should put together an outline of what the issues are in the case. And of course, this is going to be dependent on them reading the facts and reading some of the law, of course. Okay, so copyright infringement is our big claim here. And in the description field, the student could put a description of the nature of that issue, legally, factually, otherwise. I have a field for burden of proof. It's clear and convincing. And these other fields I'm going to explain in a moment. The main thing to do here is you're outlining the case. Okay, so copyright infringement, they're going to learn very quickly, new issue. It has two elements that have to be proved in the case. So this makes it very easy to outline your claim. You just use these little arrows. So you move stuff left, right, up, down in your outline. And my first element that I have to prove is valid copyright. So we're going to put here, Keys must prove she had valid copyright in the song at the time of the infringement. And, burden of proof, whatever it is. And then next element here, we're going to hit, again, new record, new issue. We're at a 1.2, is unauthorized copy. So that's what the student is going to be learning is the standard. And that the plaintiff has to prove both of these things. Keys must prove he copied without authorization. Well, the case law is going to further elaborate for them that unauthorized copying has its own two-pronged test. This is typical in the law. There's always a test, and each element of a claim has to be proved, and there will be different facts that prove it and different pieces of the law that will elucidate the point. So we want to outline this part of the argument. We're going to hit new issue, and we're just going to knock it in one level again with those little arrows and go like this. Substantial similarity. That's the first part of the test. So she's got to prove the two songs were substantially similar. And then last but not least, access. She has to prove that Timberlake had access to her song and opportunity to copy it. So it's like a circumstantial test. All right? So does everybody get the idea of what this issue outline is all about? You're outlining the legal arguments. We're going to put in one more issue. Okay? His fair use defense. Okay? So I'm going to hit new issue. And now I just use my arrows to back it up twice. Back to a number 2. Really so easy. And we're going to put the fair use defense. And this is where the student would explain what that defense is all about. And we're going to put one more. Okay, 2.1 is the first thing in the statute. It says a parody is a fair use defense to copyright infringement. Okay, so now we're ready to go. We've got our whole little case, if only all cases were so simple. Mine were not. But this is typical simple copyright case. All right, we go to facts. We have a fact spreadsheet here that is pretty awesome because you can just put in a fact with a date, it automatically sorts them into date order. It's an automatic chronology. And you can analyze each fact. And this is very important. Again, obviously beneficial to the clinics, but in the legal writing setting, the student can put in a fact and not only write that fact in the outline, but show they understand the importance of the fact to the problem. Okay. So the U.S. Copyright Office issues registration certificate to Keys for her song. Sure looks good to me. Okay. Now this is an important fact. We have now fields where we're going to put the important information about that fact that an attorney must keep track of. One of the most important things is the source, because you have to cite the source of a fact in your brief, just like you cite cases. And this fact comes from the complaint at paragraph 2. And let's say Exhibit A is the certificate. Okay, so that's the site. And I always teach students this class, and I remind them that when you practice law and you're writing briefs, you tend to just construct arguments from your head because you remember all the facts of the case, and you end up with a lot of C blanks next to facts because you don't remember where you got them from. I used to do that all the time and then have to delve through my pleadings and my depositions to find my sources. So even in a small problem where they've only got a few sources, it's a good thing to teach them to, keep track of sources of facts. Okay, linked issues. Now this is where we get to the heart of CaseMap, and this is why CaseMap is so cool. Everything in a case is going to get linked to an issue. A fact, a legal authority, a document. Okay? You have an issue outline now. All you have to do is use this little button, pulls it right up, and you can look at your outline and link that fact to as many issues as you like. Okay, so I'm going to link this. Obviously, it links generally to copyright infringement, but more specifically to the valid copyright point of the argument. And there it is. Now the student is asked, is this a material fact? Okay, you don't have to have this field in here if you don't want them to have to think about that this is too sophisticated for them for first semester, but most of my writing professors think it's important. so that it can distinguish between a fact that's material to the argument and a fact that's not. Yeah?
You said you can create your own fields. Can you create them any old way, like open text field, checkbox,
Sure.
list?
Absolutely, it's
Okay.
really great. You can make a drop-down menu where you can create choices in the drop-down menu. You can make it a checkbox. You can make it a date field. You can make it a description field. I'll show you that. Okay. And also these fields can be moved. You can change their order just by clicking and dragging. You can make them shorter or wider. It's just pretty simple. Status is important of a fact. Is this fact disputed in the case or not? It's undisputed. Okay? And then I have a little status description box in case somebody disputes it, why they dispute it. Is it a key fact? Yes, it is. And I have a little box here to evaluate it even. Is it helping us or is it hurting us? So you can sort then by all these criteria. If I want to see all my bad facts in the case that I have to deal with, I'll sort on heavily against us and I'll see all my bad facts. Okay. So let's put in one more fact here. New record, new fact. On 2203, Justin Timberlake attends party at home of Keys where she performs unreleased version of her song for her guests. Okay? And this comes from the deposition of Keys at whatever, page 2, line 3. And we're going to link this to an issue. I often do this example with students, and they quickly guess which issue in the case it goes to. It goes to proving access to the song. Okay? So you get the idea here. It's nice that the student can show, instead of just handing in a list of facts, they can show the professor that they got the right facts and they understood why the facts are important. Okay, this is material, and it is disputed by Timberlake. So JT says he was with Cameron Diaz in Saint-Tropez that day and couldn't have been at the party, right? So that's the whole idea. And so on and so forth. And like I said, these will resort into date order automatically. And you have a nice fact chronology replete with all of the important analysis, because fact analysis is what's really important to teach students in legal research and writing. Aside from legal analysis, it's a big part of it. Yeah?
Tell me it has a timesheet function.
A timesheet function? You mean like keeping time?
Yeah.
But clinics ask me this all the time. We have a tool called Time Matters, complementary with it, and it works with it. But it is the one thing CaseMap doesn't do is record the time spent on tasks and conflict checking. That's the Time Matters tool, and it works with CaseMap. And you can have both if you're a clinic.
Okay. For general law students, is Time Matters something that they can get at as well for free? Or?
You know, I know we're giving it to clinics for free, but I don't think we might be able to give a trial copy.
Would you do it for my ALR class?
For class, I'm sure we can probably give you a demo
I like
copy,
your
sure.
There you go. Boil it down, Patrick.
Absolutely.
Can I have it?
We'll talk after class. Okay, so research authorities. I now clicked on research authorities. It's time for me to do the same thing with my cases. Isn't this nice how it's every little piece of the pie of your case is in one place? I mean, as an attorney, it warms my heart to see that kind of insular little organization. It just makes you feel like you have the whole case at your fingertips, and you do. Okay, so authorities. New record, new case. We're going to stick in, Jones v. Atlantic Records, and we're going to put in our site and our jurisdiction, Second Circuit. You can add, every time you add a new court, let's say this is Fifth Circuit, you just hit enter and it adds it to the drop-down menu, so you'll always have the court to choose from. I put the year in here, and you can choose, is it case law, a ruling, a statute, a regulation. Again, this makes it really nice, particularly for law review students, when they are dealing with using this to write their note or comment. They want to quickly sort on all authorities from one court. You can obviously sort on any field in here, and it makes it easy, or all cases as opposed to all statutes. Linked issues, same deal. What does this case relate to? Let's say this is a copyright infringement case, and it also talks about parody. Okay, so we're linking it. Description, you can change the name of this field to holding if you like. Court held, defendant liable for copyright infringement, and this is where the student is obviously going to show they understood what the case is about. All right, and we have a notes field they can use. I actually added a field here because somebody suggested it, a legal writing professor, they wanted the students to distinguish between binding and persuasive authority. So I just quickly made that drop-down menu, and now they can do that. And then finally, you can link a copy of the case right here in the linked file column by simply clicking here, browsing your desktop, and let's see if I can grab a case.
Can you link to an external URL in there?
I believe you can.
Okay.
But I'm going to show you something even better.
Even better.
Where is, I'll just link this complaint. Okay, we'll use that. Okay, so now the document is linked, and so you have not only the case and your analysis of the case, but you have at your fingertips a link to open up the case whenever you want to look at it. You've saved it
Nice.
as a document. Okay, so makes it nice and accessible. Now, the more important thing here to understand is we've integrated this with Lexis to make it even easier to fill these spreadsheets out. And this is one of my favorite features. It's sort of like, I like to call it an online shopping cart for your research. Something I wish that I had had when I was practicing, because I spent enormous amounts of time printing every single case I found that was important, and then going back to the stack of printouts and highlighting, having to find those little squibs and highlight them and flag them and folder them and do all that organization. This allows you to quickly just grab something from Lexis, send it over to your spreadsheet, and I'll show you how to do that. But first, look at the extracts from authorities spreadsheet, just so you understand the difference. Authorities is your table of authorities. Automatically in alphabetical order, it's going to be a table of every case and statute you find. Every case will only appear once in this list. And the description is a general description of the case. Okay? Extracts gets more specific. Here you can have a case as many times as you like in there, because you may be pulling multiple extracts from it. Okay? That's what this is for. So you can do it the old-fashioned way, just new record, and then choose the case, and then, type in your quote if you like, and then describe that quote and link it to an issue. But the nice thing you can do if you're using Lexis is you can go, let's pull up a case. I'm just going to make up a site. I can never remember a good site. Let's see what we got. And like I said, students really like this because it really saves time. You're reading the case online, okay, you find something really key to your case. Let's say you find here the seminal case on copyright infringement in the right court, and you want to capture that court's articulation of the test. You're going to quote that in your brief. I do that all the time. You always want to grab a certain key quote. Okay, so you just right-click on the quoted language, on the highlighted language, and you hit Send to CaseMap. Okay, and this is what's really nice. It knows it's going to the authority spreadsheet, so you just hit OK. And now this dialog box here, you've got this quote in front of you. And this is what I really like about it. It's fresh in your mind because you're looking at it right now. You can stick your description in the quote description and say, whatever, Second Circuit test for copyright infringement, or as much or as little as you want to say about what that quote is talking about. Okay, then maybe in the notes field you might want to put here, court held no infringement here based on the facts. And then the issue linker button allows you to link the issue right there on the fly. So I can link this to copyright infringement and hit OK. And now I can continue doing my research. But if I go back to CaseMap, look what happened. This Walker case was added to my extracts list with my extract and my description of that extract and my linked issue. So, and in the linked file column, you'll notice there's something there. It put the link to the Lexis case in there for you. So that actually saves the time of having to download the case from Lexis, save it on your desktop, and then separately link it. For those of you who are wondering how much this costs, because in the firms, obviously, they're going to be paying for something, it's a get a document fee. So it's a very small fee every time you re-access that paperclip, it'll launch you into Lexis and open the case, and it'll charge a small get a document fee, not a new search or anything. But for students, obviously, it's free. So it's a nice, easy way to gather your cases. What else did I want to say? Oh, Walker is in the extract spreadsheet now. It's also going to be added automatically to your authorities list. So when I look at my authorities list now, I see Walker in alphabetical order. I see my site and my jurisdiction. And then my job is to fill out the rest of the stuff. You know. So again, authorities is the general descriptions of the cases, and extracts is for parsing out particular quotes and describing them. And it's really nice because, you know, like I said, let's just do this real quick. Let's say this is fair use. This one is linked to valid copyright. This one is a quote on the substantial similarity test. This one is talking about the parity test. Okay, I want to sort all of my extracts. I want to see all my extracts just on the parity issue, right? Very simple. I can just hit search and select an issue, parity, and I'm done. So now if I've got 100 authorities in there, I've now got the one or two that I really need. Okay. The other way to do that is you can always just right-click on the name on any word, right-click on it and hit filter, and it filters the spreadsheet. You can do this in the facts, in every spreadsheet. Okay. You can do multiple filters. So if I wanted to see only extracts on parity from one court, I just do the two filters and I would break it down to only the extracts on that issue from that court. So it gives you real control over everything. Okay, any questions so far about this authority stuff? Is that clear how you're using this? Okay. And you know, like I said, it's customizable. So I had a professor who wanted in the authority spreadsheet, she wanted something called key facts of the case. So you right-click, you insert a field. That's all you do. You just right-click on the name of any field and you get a choice to insert a field. And you can either choose from one of these, or if it's not there, you make it up. Key facts, or legally significant facts. Okay, and then from type, I'm going to choose a description field. And I have now a plain old text box called key facts right there in my spreadsheet. So you can do anything you want with CaseMap. You can do anything you want with CaseMap. You can make it totally non-legal by changing the names of all the fields and using it to organize, you know, your closet, whatever. And I've done it. I've done it. You think I'm joking, but you can make the shoes issues and then link them to outfits that go with the shoes. I'm telling you the truth. Okay.
Jackie, you have too much time on your hands.
Believe it or not, I really
No, she has too many shoes.
But I have time on planes. I can do that on plane. Okay, one more thing is documents. Okay, now this is really important for clinics. In the legal writing setting, you know, sometimes the professor will actually use the case map to deliver the documents to the students. So they'll get a case map that has the complaint, the answer, and whatever little stipulated facts or deposition transcript they want to give as part of the problem. You can do that, or students can attach the documents themselves, and then, you know, it's very easy to then open up the document. And you can actually, with a PDF, you can extract facts right from PDFs and send them right to your fax, which is really nice. It's a time saver when you're trying to, you know, collect important facts. So I could just grab this statement from the complaint, right, and right-click on it and hit send to CaseMap. It's just like the research right at the bottom, and it's the same deal. You know, the box pops up, tell me about this fact, it happened on 2205, the source is already there for you. Is it a key fact? Yes. What's the status? Disputed by our opposition. What's the linked issue? It goes to valid copyright. Okay, so now it goes right into your fact spreadsheet. So again, it's a nice way of when you're doing, you know, document review. That's what you're doing. I used to do document review, you know, by sitting with the paper boxes of documents, and then I would have a document that I would type in every time I found an important fact, I would type in that fact and type in where I got it from and the number of the document and all that stuff. So it's nice to be able to just take straight from documents. Clinics really appreciate this feature. For a student, for a 1L, some of them will use that because they're too lazy to write the fact from the complaint, or they don't have to use that particular feature, but it is nice to have the ability to open up their documents and just look at them on the screen and have them organized here. Also, in the document spreadsheet, and again, this is more important for clinics, all these fields, you can analyze the documents in important ways. So you add a new document, let's say it's an email from Spears to Timberlake. Okay, so the type field allows you to choose what type of document it is. It's an email. Again, you can expand that list. So clinics, I have just customized a case map for a clinic, and they had, they were dealing with police records, or so the other clinic was dealing with certain health reports. So their list was very particular to the types of documents that they dealt with. So email, number of pages, you can link the document to an issue or more than one issue. So let's say fair use. And is it a key document? Yes. Who's the author? Author is Spears. Recipient is Timberlake. Oops. And the description is, she invites him to perform. So on and so forth. Source, lets you put where you got the document, who produced it, is there a privilege attached to it? You can choose what is the privilege, who reviewed it on the case. Jackie reviewed it. What's the review status? It's still in review. And then finally, you can attach the document itself. Okay, so same deal I showed you before. You grab the document, and there it is, attached. Now, for clinics that are going to be dealing with a large volume of documents, they don't have to attach them one at a time, obviously. You can bulk send. So if you've got 5,000 PDFs in a folder, you hit the bulk import, and what you end up with is a document spreadsheet that has all the names of the documents and the links. And then all the other fields are obviously up to you to fill out, but it's pretty nice feature. So just to show you quickly, I'm going to close this case to just show you how important the sorting thing is, especially for clinics and real practice. I'm going to open up this Hawkins case. Okay, because it has a lot of facts in it. And let's just say I need to write a motion for summary judgment on the issue of wrongful termination. Okay, so now, for those of you who know about summary judgment motions, it has to be based on the undisputed material facts relating to a particular claim. Okay, so you need 3 criteria. You need to see only the facts that meet those 3 criteria, because you actually have to submit a statement to the court containing that list of facts. Okay, here's what you do. What I would do in the past is just freak out and go through the complaint and the answer, and try what was disputed, what wasn't, check back and forth. That's what you had to do. But here you can just, if you've obviously put this information in your spreadsheet, I'm going to filter on wrongful termination in the linked issues column, just by right-clicking and hitting filter. So now I have all my wrongful termination facts. Then I'm going to go to the status column, go to undisputed, right-click, filter. So I'm doing a second filter here, and turns out they're all material. So 2 clicks, I got to my subset of facts that I wanted. Same thing goes with documents. It's very important. Maybe I need to depose the plaintiff, Philip Hawkins, and I want to see only emails he wrote to Mr. Lang. And that could take forever going through boxes of documents. So now I go to the type field and say, hey, show me only emails. Okay, show me only the ones from Phil Hawkins as the author. All right, only the ones he wrote to Lang. My third filter, done. So now maybe I had 5,000 documents in there, 3 met my criteria, I got them in an instant. So that's the power of filtering and why it's so nice to have all this information in a tool like this as opposed to in a random Word document or other formats. It gives you complete power and control over the information. Also, let's look at the issue outline for a second in this case. Okay? You see these fields over here with the number signs? They're showing me everything I have linked to each argument or issue in the case. I can instantly see I've got 8 facts on wrongful termination. If I click there, it pulls up those facts. I can just hit print and print them out. I want to see how many how many are undisputed? 4.
When you print, does it print this, or does it print everything that's?
Just prints that exact
just
little
that table?
spreadsheet.
Okay.
How many disputed by my adversary? These 2. How many authorities do I have? How many extracts? So this is another way to kind of instantly sort, because you can just get access to everything linked to an issue by going through the issue outline itself. And also, you know, it's nice that you're always going to see the numbers there. You always know where you're weak and where you're strong. It becomes a master kind of view of the case and where the strengths and weaknesses are. And I think it's a really fantastic tool. I mean, I will tell you that attorneys love this tool. They love this tool. It is a great assist in practice. And students do recognize it. As soon as they see it, even 1Ls say, wow, this is so cool. I get a lot of students who see it after their 1L assignment is handed in who tell me, I wish I had this. I was using index cards. I was doing this and that, and I would have totally used this. So they definitely get the value of it. Moot court students appreciate it a great deal. They use it a lot. Law review students. A law review student is going to do this. Very simple. You can hide whatever spreadsheets you don't want to use. Okay? I'm going to right-click and remove persons and facts. Remove it from favorites. I'm going to get rid of documents because I'm not using those. And then my case map becomes just an issue outline and a collection of authorities and extracts. So that's what your law review student's case map would look like, or your faculty member who's writing an article. So you can use CaseMap just to manage issues and authorities, or you could use it to manage a humongous litigation with documents and pleadings and everything, because all the shortcuts, all the other spreadsheets are there for using. If I want a spreadsheet just for pleadings, I can use the pleadings spreadsheet. Proceedings is for keeping track of depositions. You've got a questions spreadsheet that you can use where you can keep track of questions in the litigation. You've got events, places. There's a whole bunch to choose from here, but you can use whatever suits you in the case. Okay. Last but not least, reporting. You go to reports. You want to print out the whole case map. This is what your student can hand in. This is what the attorney would hand to a client. Instant report of your whole case. Doesn't get any better than this. Your name of the case, date of the report. You got a statement of confidentiality. You got a table of contents. You've got an intro. Welcome to the case. Here are the issues, all described. Here's my cast of characters. Everybody in the case, what their roles are, etc. Organizations, facts, in chron order nicely. What we got here, documents, and then your research spreadsheets. Oh, questions is in here as well. Research authorities and research extracts. So everything, and you can customize these reports. You can have whichever spreadsheets you want, and then the default is all of them. And that's what they can hand in. They can send that to Word, Excel. They can just email it as a PDF. Yeah.
Will our Lexis reps be able to train on this?
Now they will.
Because this is just very new to law schools.
It's actually, I started teaching it to law schools in like around beginning of 2007. So it's already in a number of law schools around the country being used in, like I said, legal writing, advanced legal writing, clinics. It's all over the place already because I have been, they kind of put me out there as the sole evangelist initially, but now that it's taken on so much momentum in the schools, this year they've made it part of what all of our reps have to know so that they can be training students themselves and answering questions. But I'm still, I'm still on the job. I'm the person who comes out, like let's say a clinic says, yeah, we want this. I will come out to the clinic and I train all the students. I just did that at Fordham. I just did that at Chicago Kent. I mean, that's my job, is to do that initial training and get everybody up to speed on the software, which I do it usually in person. I also do them remotely. But now, instead of it just being me, it'll be all your rep as well. But there's a whole bunch of resources besides myself and your rep. Just to show you real quick, the CaseSoft website. If you go to support, there's a webinar center, and you could really learn every bell and whistle of this product on your own, because there's a whole host of webinars, introductory, advanced topics. So you just click on them and you sit there and watch a little 5 to 20-minute demo, and you learn the product. It's very easy to learn, actually. And so that's a resource. There's phone training available. There's support 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, on the phone. And there's also, I recorded a webinar, a nationwide webinar that I did for legal writing professors. I recorded that. That was recorded by the company, so that's available now to all legal writing professors. And I'm doing a second one at the end of July that all your legal writing faculty will get invited to. I'm also doing one in July for clinics. So you might want to go back and tell your clinic people there's a webinar coming up, because they can just, you know, pop on their computer and see this demo at their comfort of their desk. And I do a little bit different one. I've been talking to all of you about all the different uses of the product, but when I'm talking to clinics, I delve a lot more into some of the more clinic-specific features that they'll use a lot, as opposed to legal writing that uses it very simply. Does everybody understand this product? Questions? Yeah.
I have a question in terms of, I'm thinking of when you're in private practice, and maybe you're in a particular area of law, and your cases have similar situations come up, and your partner comes up and said, there was a case, and blah, 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 this issue, and is there a feature for you to go back? I mean, your case maps are by case name.
Yeah, let me see if I know what you're asking. Are you asking me if you can search across multiple case maps?
Yeah, is there any way to either...
I wish there was. I get that question all the time.
Well, I'm thinking, you know...
They're all separate, so
but
you
it would
have
be something
to
that,
search them.
I would think that would be an easy thing for a law firm to create, that you could sort cases by, like, real property, or...
Well,
you know, you could have the names of your case maps, and then you maybe could in-house create something like that.
Yeah,
though.
you
But I
could.
mean, that would be very
you
handy.
could,
since
but
see the
but you
same.
couldn't go into the CaseMap
It's not going
tool
to sort that
and
for
tell
you
it
back.
to search for one issue across multiple
Right.
documents, because they're just separate files.
Mhm.
But you can search within a CaseMap file. Also, you can create templates. So
Mhm.
if you are always doing a certain kind of case,
Right.
you always want to reuse a CaseMap
Mhm.
that has certain settings that you already
Mhm.
customized. You can
And
sort
certain facts and certain law. I mean, if you're doing like landlord-tenant, you know,
absolutely.
and you're like, what was the statute again? You know,
Right.
just pop into something like
Absolutely, and that's another one of the nice benefits, because you can just open up this old case map and have kind of like the whole basis of a new case
that.
already,
Mhm.
you know, a head start.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Anything about, I mean, I'm not gonna spend time showing you all the different types of reports, but under reports, you can print out this information so many different ways. For example, if you wanted to see facts, documents, and law grouped by issue, that's my favorite one, where you get to see, you know, it just spits it out for you in that way. Issue, supporting facts, supporting law, supporting documents. So it's really a great organization of your case. Also, another thing I forgot to show you was in the facts, let's bring facts spreadsheet back into our favorites. You can send your facts straight to a timeline with the other free tool that you have. You just go File, Send, to Time Map. And I'm going to tell it to send my entire spreadsheet, not just one fact, but the whole fact list. And now, instead of working in Time Map from scratch to create this timeline, it instantly creates the timeline for me. And I can, you know, you can do lots of fancy things with time map and color and shape and size of these boxes. But this is a, you know, an instant trial demonstrative. Students love this tool as well. And you can use it, I've seen students use it in mock trial. You can use time map to create a timeline, a double timeline, where your plaintiff's facts are in the version is in the green on the top and the defendants are in another color on the bottom, so that the court can see the two conflicting versions of facts. It's a really neat tool. And that's also free to everyone, along with the whole suite. So, I have all your business cards, and I will make sure you all have my information. If I haven't already been to your school, because I'm not sure where you're all from, but I've been to a lot of your schools, I'm available to come out and, you know, give a lunch to the faculty. show it to all the clinics, show it to all the writing faculty. Like I said, you can also invite them to that nationwide webinar. I can always do it one-on-one on the phone with any particular professor who would like to see a demo, so that's my job. All right?
Thanks.
You're welcome. I think we'll probably do it.